Hey guys, it's your boy Fanlake Mama. I'm in a building, you feel me? We're in a building. So basically, guys, today we're gonna be talking about introduction to indices. So this is when we're gonna be talking about those indices that we mostly focus on when we are trading. There are a whole lot of more indices out there, but we don't trade all of them. There are indices of which we focus on them. So you're just gonna get to see which indices we focus on them on as we go down to break down. Um, the indices. So this is the table of content. So on the table of content, we have a few topics that we're going to be covering, of which we're going to be talking about what are indices in general. So basically here, we're just going to be explaining as to what are indices, how do they come into place, what is the benefit of indices and all that. But we're not just going to be specifying as to which indices we're going to be talking about. We're just going to be elaborating in a general form. We're not going to be simply being straightforward as to which indices we're going to be talking about. Then I'm just going to give example of indices to which indices, like in general, so not like the one that we focus on, which is Nasdaq and USD. Just going to be giving the example of indices that there are a whole lot of more indices that one can focus on out there beside Nasdaq and USD. But us as chasers, we mainly focus on Nasdaq 100 and USD, which is the one that we back tested, and if we found them to be more interesting compared to other indices. So we're gonna be, we have another topic, a subtopic, which is why are we focusing on Nasdaq and why are we focusing on USD? So we're gonna be breaking down such questions as to why do we tend to choose these two indices rather than taking all indices that are out there, because at the end of the day, they're all profitable, they can be tradable as well. So we're just gonna be going in depth of a Nasdaq. We're going to be going in deep details as to what is Nasdaq, how did it come into existence, what is it benefiting, what is contained inside Nasdaq, what moves Nasdaq, and all those things. Just going to be discussing everything that include Nasdaq. And then again, we're going to be going in deep depth with a US data as well. What is US data? Where did it come from? How did it come from? Who are the people who invented USDT and what is the benefit of USDT and all that. So let's get down to it. So the first question is what are indices in general? So here we're just going to be explaining indices in general. So the indices track underlying prices of the currency pairs or companies within that index. So this basically means that it has like many companies that are inside it. Then indices it's used to track those companies that are within that specifically the specific index that are inside. So if the individual foreign exchange price in that index increases, then the value of index will go up. So this means that if those maybe companies that are inside that index that we're talking about, the value of it increases, then it means the value of what of the price of that index, probably maybe Nasdaq, is going to increase because of what? Because of the companies that are within the Nasdaq indices are doing what? They are in profit or they are increasing. Conversely, if the individual foreign exchange prices decreases, then the value of the index will go down. So this goes to if the companies that are within the indices, then they are not performing well. Probably maybe there is some, maybe there is, as you can see, there is a lockdown and all that. So some of the companies are not performing well. So which causes what? Causes a Nasdaq or USD to fall because of what? Because of those major companies that they control Nasdaq or USD, they're not currently doing well because of pandemic and all those things. Index trading is a type of trading of group of stocks which makes up the index. So as I was saying, that index trading is a type of trading of group of stocks which makes up the index. So it means they are group of what? They are group of companies that are grouped together to just make what? To just make one stock of indices like Nasdaq. You know, Nasdaq has like 100 companies. So it's a group of what? Of companies that are tagged in together to form one indices. An index is a measurement of the value of section of the stock market. It is computed from prices of selected stock. So basically, like as you know, like we have over 100 companies on Nasdaq, but not all of them they have like the highest impact on Nasdaq. Few of them they have like the major impact on those indices. It may also be referred as a group of stock market publicly listed at most businesses within the region. So as you know, guys, you can also refer to as like a group of stock market publicly listed at most. As I've said tons of time that Nasdaq is just like or USDT or other indices that are out there. It's just a group of companies that are stacked in together to to control the price of what of that index is probably maybe Nasdaq or USDT because those are the ones that we mainly focus on. So these are example of what? These are example of indices. So we have like three major indices of which they are the most traded indices worldwide and they are the most volatile indices worldwide of which is Nasdaq 100, it's US 13 and it's S&P 500. Then we also have other stock indices that are out there that are tradable, that are also profitable, which is Nasdaq Composite Index, it's a Russell 2000 Index, it's UK 100, it's German 30, it's France 40. So those are the other stock indices that are out there. You can also trade them and be profitable with them, but we mainly focus on the two, which is Nasdaq and USD. Why do we focus on Nasdaq and USD? Okay, trading Nasdaq and USD gives traders a diversified exposure to great number of companies in the non-financial sector. So you can see that it give us traders the diversified exposure of great number of companies. So you can basically trade those companies like all of those companies in form of what like in a one indices like maybe Nasdaq. It give us that opportunity to not like maybe trade Facebook alone or trade Tesla alone, but we just trade all those companies together. All of them they are in like stack together. So what is it that they're doing? Nasdaq give us that thing to like trade all of them together as a whole. So Nasdaq or USDT is more volatile, giving retail traders more opportunities. So this is one of other reasons why we trade Nasdaq because it is more volatile and it gives more opportunities to traders to capitalize on to either to the downside or to the upside. So here are other reasons to trade Nasdaq 100 and USDT. It is one of the world's most popular and widely followed indices. So Nasdaq is one of the most followed what indices, and USDT they are the most followed what indices worldwide, which increases the volatility that they have because of they are the most traded what indices worldwide. It has clear technical patterns which provide distinct entry and exit signal. So Nasdaq and USDT, they have what? They have clear chart patterns which provide distinct entries and exit signal, which makes them so easy, not so easy, but makes them be tradable. We can also use what technical analysis just to analyze and capitalize on the move. So they become not so complicated because of they have clear technical patterns. The indices provide traders with a great deal of liquidity, which leads to tight spread that offers an expensive cost to enter and exit what they trade. So as you can see, that Nasdaq it has great liquidity, which leads to tight spreads and inexpensive. So it doesn't really cost that much to trade Nasdaq or USDT because of it has a great liquidity. Traders can trade in mini Nasdaq on Chicago mercantile exchange almost 24 hours. As you know that Nasdaq or other indices, they not traded like 24-hour, 24/7, like 7 days a week. There are times whereby they close and there are times whereby they open. So they're not being traded like all the day, every day, all the time, 7 days a week. Okay, so now we're going in deep depth of what of Nasdaq as to what is Nasdaq, how did it come into existence, and what are the benefits of trading Nasdaq and why trading Nasdaq. So the first subtopic is what is Nasdaq 100. So Nasdaq 100 is a stock market index made up of 102 equity securities issued by 100 largest non-financial companies listed on what on Nasdaq stock market. So it has over 102 equity securities issued by 100 largest non-financial companies listed on the Nasdaq stock market. So that is basically the definition of what of Nasdaq. It has like non-financial companies. So what is someone will be asking you, what is a non-financial companies? Is one of is the one that engage in the production of their market goods and non-financial services, e.g. Apple, Inc., Tesla, Facebook. So those are the non-financial what non-financial companies. So companies that are in or that are on Nasdaq, we're talking about Apple, we're talking about Tesla, we're talking about Facebook, we're talking about Amazon, we're talking about MD, we're talking about MSFT. So basically, those companies are not the only companies that are involved in what in Nasdaq, but these ones are the ones that they have the highest impact on Nasdaq because they tend to like if you see that Tesla or Apple or Facebook is doing good in the stock market, then that's when you can expect what you can expect Nasdaq to be bullish. Or if they're not performing well, that's when you can expect Nasdaq to be bearish. But then there are other companies which are also involved in what in Nasdaq. These are not the only companies, but these are the top ones that has the most influence on what on Nasdaq. So these are the ones that we most focus on when trading Nasdaq as to how is Apple performing, how is Tesla performing, how is Facebook also performing, just to see a general overview as to what is that we have technically so and fundamentally so. Nasdaq in-depth continues. So the purpose and importance of Nasdaq. So why it is important? What is the purpose of what of Nasdaq? So it's a global electronic marketplace for buying and selling securities. It was created by National Association of Security NASD to enable investors to trade security and on a computerized speed and transparent system and commence operation. So this is basically the purpose of what of Nasdaq. Why it was created? It was created to enable investors to trade security on computerized speed and transparent system and commence operation of of Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq index is important because it plays a large role in the local global economy. So it plays the most, it has the like plays the most role on what on global and local economy all over the world, as you know, like but it's based in what in USA, in USA, in USA. So it plays a lot of important role in the economy of United States of America. It advises society and investors of the top companies outside of what of financial sectors. For companies, it is an extreme well-known, well-trusted exchange for them to list their shares on. So Nasdaq is well-known and it's well-trusted. So for investors, it is they have a lot of trust on investing on what on Nasdaq because of it is well-known and it is well-trusted. This is another one of important of Nasdaq and a purpose of Nasdaq because of like investors they can just invest on what on Nasdaq because of it is well known and it is trusted. How does Nasdaq make money? So this goes down as to, as we know that there are a whole lot of companies on Nasdaq, but then again the question is to how does Nasdaq make money? So source of revenue for Nasdaq are charges for transact, licensing fees, so which are licensing fees, listing fees, and revenue from data products in technology and product services. So these are the sources of which Nasdaq is making money. Like so, you can see we have licensing fees. So we have listing fees. Probably listing fees is when those companies that are being listed under Nasdaq, and you must have a license to be listed on the Nasdaq. So they charge you for that, and revenue from data products, in technology products, and services. Nasdaq in depth continues. What effect Nasdaq 100? Instead, three key factors underpin the Nasdaq 125% rise. So, one thing that affects Nasdaq is Federal Reserve ongoing policy of near zero interest rates that has made equity more attractive than bond, which is one of what of the things that affect Nasdaq. The maturation of technology companies. So another thing that affects Nasdaq growth is that if the companies they are performing well under if the companies that are listed or registered under Nasdaq are performing well, then that's when Nasdaq is gonna be affected. Or if they're not performing well, still Nasdaq is gonna be affected. But now it's gonna be affected in a negative way. And another thing is the rise of what? The rise of Apple. In so this can clearly tell us that Apple has a lot of what of influence or effect on what on Nasdaq. Just Apple alone has a lot of what of influence. As you can see, it can cause a Nasdaq to be affected. Probably if it's not doing well or if it's doing well. And B, mistakes on Nasdaq. This is an important guys. There is no difference between Nasdaq and Nasdaq composite index. So many people they tend to think that there is no difference between Nasdaq 100 and Nasdaq Composite Index. And there is a lot of huge difference between these two because as you can see, Nasdaq 100 has like 100 companies on it. Instead, Nasdaq Composite has over 3,000 companies. So Nasdaq 100, instead of including all of common stock listed on Nasdaq Composite, it only includes 100 largest non-financial companies. So as I was saying, Nasdaq only include 100 largest non-financial companies. As to Nasdaq Composite, it includes over 3,000 companies. So what is Nasdaq Composite, if you might ask? Nasdaq Composite Index measures the change in more than 3,000 stocks traded on Nasdaq. So it measures the change in them that or every stock that are traded on Nasdaq or are listed on Nasdaq. It's what it measures the change in them. So now we are going to do what USDT in depth. So what is USDT? How did it come into existence? What are the benefits of trading USDT and all that? So what is USDT? USDT is also known as Dow 30. Is a stock market index that tracks 30 large publicly owned blue companies trading on the New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, and Nasdaq 100. So Dow Jones Industry is named after Charles Dow, who created the index in 1896. So this indices was created by Charles Dow in 1896 with his business partner Edward Jones. The index was created to track the movement of the largest industrial companies in America. So basically, this was the reason, or this is the importance of why USDT was created. USDT was created so that it can track the movement of the largest industrial companies in America. However, today it is comprised of 30 companies from all over different sectors. But then today it has over 30 companies that are pegged from different sectors in it. So USDT in depth continues. So now, what drives USDT? So the Dow is influenced by major, oh, USDT is also Dow Jones. So if I'm saying like the Dow, don't just get confused, guys. So the Dow is influenced by major economic data such as the rate of unemployment or inflation, geopolitical events, and decisions of Federal Open Market Committee, which is FOMC, more commonly referred to as the Fed. So as you know, guys, these are the things that affect what that affect Dow Jones, as you can see, is the rate of unemployment or inflation, geopolitical events like political events. They also have influence on what on USDT. So of which it is why that is why it is important that whenever that you are trading USDT, you've got to be alert and as to what is it that is happening around the globe, what is that is happening fundamentally. So maybe do we have any event that is ongoing? What is the effect that the event can cause? And if you have any inflation or unemployment rate, or is it increasing? Is it decreasing? Then that's when you're gonna start to see or capitalize as to is the door is going to hold up or it's going to hold to the downside. But then we also apply technical analysis as to if it's going to hold down or it's going to hold to the upside. Some of the biggest factors which influence sentiment are rapidly changing every crisis, war or terrorist and political unrest or gridlock. So as you can see, we have like terrorists, which is some of the biggest factors that influences what influences USDT. Like if there is a war in a country or in another country, so you know that has like maybe companies that are checked in Nasdaq, like maybe, yeah, if like there are companies that are checked on Nasdaq, maybe there's economic bankruptcy there, maybe countries they are falling, there's a war, and such things they influence what they affect USD in a huge way. So uncertainty tends to have major impact on investor sentiment and their willingness to invest in the equities that make up the Dow Jones. So as also if like they are uncertainly, maybe the investors are doubting about the economy or what is happening, then that tend to affect Dow Jones in a huge way because of maybe they're gonna be pulling out their investors, or maybe if they're gonna be putting in their funds into the Dow, then it's gonna be rising. But then if they're gonna be pulling out their funds, then it's gonna be pushing to the downside. So US sterling debt continues. Does USDT closes? This is one of the most questions that I tend to get from people asking if does Dow DT or USDT closes. Yes, it does close. Yes, does on specific time. It is not traded 24/7 and 7 days a week. As I've said, guys, before, so, guys, as I was saying, that US state is not traded 24/7 and 7 days a week. So, yeah, there are times whereby it closes and there are times whereby it is open. So, over the years, the composite of index has evolved with economy. So, as we know that the economy is growing, so does the US state is also growing and pushing to the upside. As you can see, that it is controlled by what those major companies that if they are going to the upside, then that means even Nasdaq, even USD, I mean, is gonna go to the upside. And if they are falling, then USD is gonna also be pushing to the downside. So why are we trading USD? An obvious benefit to trading the USD is that it allows foreign investor easier option to invest in the US stock market. So basically, USD allows what foreign investors to easily invest their funds into what into the US stock market. Compared to other indices around the world, the US state is one of the most reliable places to put your money. So compared to other indices that are there, which are like transport, which are like German state, US state is one of the most reliable what indices that are there for investors to put in their funds or invest in it. Because the US state has only 30 companies, a drawback compared to other indices is that it doesn't offer the market representation that other funds can offer. So that's another reason why we're trading what Nasdaq USD because of what it drawback compared to other. It has just only has what it has like 30 companies in it. So yeah. So okay, I'm just gonna push to the downside a bit so that I can go back to where I was. Just gonna push a bit to the downside. Okay, so we're gonna be going into the as to the companies that are on USDT. So we have companies on USDT which makes the Dow Jones industry average are 3M, American Express, Amgen, Boeing, Caterpillar, Chevron, Cisco, System, etc. So there are many more companies that are involved in what in a USDT, but then these are the ones that has more impact on what on a USDT. Thank you so much. Enjoy it home. And please, when you start to take on this lesson, just have a pen and a paper to write everything down. And just don't go through them once. You can just go twice or three times. Then that's when you will master the basic of what of indices. This is just the background of what of indices to what is that is making them, how are they made, and how they function, and how are they benefiting retail traders and how themselves they are benefiting from retail traders. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy.